This week on Deep Space Pride, a gay Star Trek podcast, we preview Strange New Worlds, and we also talk about Picard Season 2, Episode 9, Hide and Seek. Thanks for joining us. Mike, how's it going?
Hey, Johnson, I'm doing all right. How are you?
Well, I tested positive for COVID yesterday.
For the second time.
The second time, correct. But I feel okay. It is like very much MBD this time compared to last
no
year.
Big deal for those who don't know the slang.
Correct.
Well, that's good. But
it's you a little bit
did feel
in the back of my throat.
Right. We were talking this before we hit record, though, and I'm curious why a little bit more phlegm would cause you to go get tested.
Well, it's more phlegm than usual. Like the back of my throat was scratchy.
Okay.
So it was like, okay, the back of my throat is not normally scratchy. I mean, usually there are allergies and I'm just like ill, as in like there's mucus.
Okay.
But this was more than usual. I was like, oh. So...
Okay.
You know, I think that it was worth kind of just testing, and it was unfortunately positive. So there we are.
Unbelievable. You have had it twice, and I have had it 0.
I know. And Dennis has had it, and somehow you still didn't get it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But like I said to you earlier, you are missing out.
I don't know if I'm missing out, but
you're missing out.
Yes, it's now. It just continues to be a matter of when, not if, you know.
Yeah.
Which actually we were talking about at work the other day. At our social, we were talking about how it's just a matter of if, not if anymore.
Have your coworkers gotten it? All my coworkers have gotten it. It's like incredible.
Oh wow, no, only a few have gotten it. Yeah, only.
I feel all my friends have gotten it. All my coworkers have gotten it. It's pretty terrible, but
so yeah. One of my coworkers is out with it right now. But everyone who worked around them is fine. And I'm fine. I've tested negative both yesterday and today.
Because we saw a show Saturday, because I was like...
Right, yes.
Right.
So fortunately you were next to me and Fran was across the table. So that is good.
I mean, the difference is probably 5 inches. I don't know.
And
I was probably speaking her direction.
So, and yeah, so we had, so I mean, the important part of that sentence is we got to see Fran while she was here for the Strange New Worlds premiere.
Fran from Sci-Fi Sisters, for those of you that don't know who that is. Some people were like, who's Fran?
Yes, true. Yes. That's true. Yes.
Context.
The other Sci-Fi Sisters were also in the greater New York area, just not able to meet up with us for brunch. They were further out. They're up in Westchester, which is not near Manhattan.
If we push it hard, I feel like we could have met them for like a coffee or something, but it would have been too rushed, I think.
Yeah.
Because they were not that far from us. The red carpet was literally 10 blocks from me.
That's true. Yes. Yeah. But they were, they looked like all the pictures were great. They had a great time. I've not seen... I've not heard a first-hand account about it, but it looked great. Everyone had a blast, and they got to see.
The thing is, if I was at the premiere, I could have given everyone COVID. So
that's true. So that's very good.
So it's probably for a reason that I wasn't there.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yes. So that is good. But yes.
So it looks like it was fun, and then they had an after party at Robert, which is also right next to me. It's like swanky restaurant in some sort of museum. I don't remember the name of it, but it's nice.
Yeah,
they had fun.
They did, and so and the cast kind of knows who they are, so which is really kind of cool. So
yeah, totally.
Well, Anson does anyway. So
I know. Well, they got invited by Anson personally, so
they did. Yes, which is really cool.
Well, speaking of Strange New Worlds, we did get a chance to watch the first 5 episodes. We didn't get invited to the premiere, but we did get a chance to watch the first 5 episodes, which we did not really talk about because Mike was a little bit
Well,
nervous
so
about the embargo.
I've only watched the first three.
Oh, right.
So
Yes. So we can't even preview the entire, all
no, no,
the first five set. That's
no. And since people are going to hear this after the premiere, we can talk about that. We can talk a little bit more, not super specific, but we can talk a little more than,
Yeah, no, I think
about the
we can
first
talk
episode.
generally about
Yeah.
the first 5 episodes. Well, Mike, let's start with you. What did you? I know you only watched 3 episodes, but what do you think so far? High level.
High level, I really am enjoying it. I am loving the episodic nature of it. I am loving the characters. I think they've picked an incredible cast, and the visuals are just amazing.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. The Enterprise looks beautiful, and it just I'm really enjoying.
Looks expensive.
Yes,
It looks very expensive.
I want to live in it. To be honest, I mean,
well, not even the Enterprise, but the sets, the locations.
Yeah.
Because each episode, there's some sort of new thing, and they do a great job, like the set designs and the production value of it. It's just like I see like money signs everywhere. It's great.
Yeah, no, it is. It's definitely a beautifully done, very loved show, and I think that the fans will love it. I'm hoping the fans will love it. I've seen some backlash on a few things
Really?
online. Yeah, so and I don't really want to get into it too much. I mean, the big thing is that Robert April is a black man, which I think is totally ridiculous. That
I don't even know what race Robert April is supposed to be. Is this to be white?
He's not supposed. I mean, so he was white in the animated series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever see incarnation of him in live action?
No, we've never.
Oh, I mean, the animated series is barely canon. So
I know. Whatever. It's just ridiculous. So anyway, yeah. It's just ridiculous, the whole canon piece of this.
Oh, that's interesting.
But anyway, I'm loving it. I think that the actors, the stars of the show, are phenomenal. I really love the opening title sequence, which was released. It's very beautiful.
Yes.
I like the theme. Jeff Russo did a great job with it.
Yeah. No, it's great. I like the opening sequence too. They did a great job.
Yeah, so it feels like Star Trek. It feels more like Star Trek probably than we've had before. So recently, anyway. I mean, just in the episodic nature of it, and I think the one thing that I really like too is that the Enterprise is a character. It's which has always been. If you watch, there's an 8-minute thing I sent you on Instagram, but it's on various channels or whatever.
Oh, I didn't watch it.
There's an 8-minute preview, like 55 years in the making.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So yeah, but it does. Oh, sorry, no. The thing that I'm thinking about is something completely different. It was a short video I saw about the Roddenberry archive, and they're doing some restoration of the cage, and I don't know too much about it, but they were just Michael and Denise Okuda, who we both know and love.
Yes.
We're just talking about how the Enterprise was its own character, and
yeah.
So they're in all its iterations. So
yeah,
I was applying that to Strange New Worlds,
which
I totally believe, and it's it's beautifully designed, and I think we both remarked that when you see the captain's quarters, you're like, whoa.
But that was one thing I was going to say. It's not just his quarters. Everyone has really spacious quarters. His quarters are out of control. Like, it's literally, he can host a massive dinner party, which he does in episode 2. But everyone else's quarters are very luxurious, except for like Uhura, but she's a cadet.
Yeah.
But honestly, everyone else I went like, holy shit, like your quarters are larger than Captain Picard's quarters on the Enterprise D. I mean, it's fine. I actually don't really care, but it's very spacious.
Yes, it is.
And they're beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really enjoying what I've watched so far, and I can't wait for more.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you know what I'm really enjoying too is, so I'm watching them one by one, obviously, but
Well, yes.
I don't feel the need to continue. You know,
Yeah,
I
me
don't.
neither, which I'm like totally fine with. I don't feel like I need to watch all of it in one sitting. I can leave and come back to it, and it's
Yeah.
totally fine. Which,
Yeah, and when I've watched an episode, I feel like it's completed and I feel satisfied, and
mhm.
it's come to a conclusion, and so yeah, I do, and I do like the tie-in to Discovery in the premiere episode.
Yes, there's a little bit of that. Yes.
So I do really enjoy that quite a bit.
Yes.
So yeah, what about you? What are your kind of high level
No,
thoughts of
yeah,
it?
I agree with all the points you made. I think that I feel there's going to be less for people to complain about, in the sense that you have, and we've talked about this before, you basically have a fresh start to each episode. So the director of each episode can try something different. The writer can try something different. Because episode 4, I was just saying right before we started recording, episode 4 and episode 5 are really good. I think they're really good. I don't know if you're going to like them, but I thought they were really good. They're probably my favorite episodes other than the pilot. And they're both really good, but for different reasons. Like episode 4 is intense. There's a lot going on. And episode 5 is funny and lighthearted. And I just like that. I like that you can do these different things, and that you also get a lot of different characters spotlighted,
Mm-hmm.
which, despite the large cast, I feel there's still a few characters that we have yet to really see much of, at least not in the first 5 episodes. But you definitely feel that they're trying to spend more time with these characters, and they're doing what the older series has done, where each episode has one character that they spotlight just a little bit more than everyone else. But I think that's great. I'm totally on board with that, because we get to learn a little bit more. They still have these overarching character subplots going on, and they're growing as people. You see that happening. So I really like it.
I just want to give our listeners assurance that I really am recording with Johnson, and that this is in fact the Johnson who normally is very negative about what he sees on Star Trek, and then
That's not true.
but
I call it as it is.
He's saying really overwhelmingly positive things about Stranger Worlds, which is wonderful, to hear. But I just wanted our listeners, to know that this was in fact still Deep Space Pride.
Yes.
And that Johnson was still my co-host.
All right. You're so reductive about me. I mean, when I enjoy Star Trek, I say I enjoy Star Trek. I mean, when I think Star Trek is crappy, I'm not gonna be shy about it. Because it's not perfect, I think that I do think that the live action series that we've gotten as of late have had strengths and weaknesses. In my mind, they've mostly been actually faulty than really achieving what they set out to be. The reason why I really praise Prodigy and Lower Decks is because I feel they've done a really good job at trying to be what they set out to do. Prodigy being a really inspirational, kids-oriented show that still retains a lot of these tenets of Star Trek, but you're trying to draw a new generation. I think they've done a fantastic job doing that.
Yes.
Lower Decks too. Like, it's set out to respect Star Trek, but it's funny, it's lighthearted, and you have these characters that bounce off each other really well. And it's about these lower deckers. And I think that as a show and as a conceit, they've just done really well doing that. Picard and Discovery, I'm not going to get into it. I just think that, because I think a big part of it though is because of the serialized nature of those shows. They invest so heavily in this like one plot, and then I think before you know it, it just gets tired, and then they try to string you wrong. I mean, I think that's honestly like a very consistent through line of much of my criticism of those two shows. and it exposes other weaknesses along the way. So I think what is different about Strange New Worlds is that you get this fresh start. You do something new. If one episode doesn't work, that's fine. We don't need to like harp on it forever and ever. It doesn't need to carry, those issues without one episode don't need to carry and be carried through the entire season. So
right, yeah,
I think that there are definitely strengths of that kind of storytelling that has made Star Trek historically, even the old, like the old series, we've had plenty of complaints about like the original series, TNG, Voyager. There's just so many bad episodes. Notice I did not say Deep Space Nine because I think there are a couple bad episodes, but relatively speaking, Deep Space Nine has more better episodes than bad episodes.
Yes, I would
But
agree.
the thing is that you get to start over. Just because you have a threshold on Voyager doesn't mean every episode's threshold. You know what I mean? It's not like the entire season is threshold and about Janeway and Tom Paris having salamander babies. You know what I mean? It's not like the entire season. So I think that's what you get to reset and you're like, oh, did that episode even happen? Let's just forget about it,
Well, I also think it gives people an opportunity to have a favorite episode and like an episode because it's based on a certain character that they're interested or they find connective to who they are. So
Sure.
I think that that's also the nice thing about this.
Yeah. And
yeah.
you also get the opportunity to not only to do that, but you get the opportunity to tackle different issues because not the entire season needs to be about one issue or one conflict, right?
Mm-hmm.
So episode 1, which is going to air by the time that this pocket episode comes out, so I don't think it's a big spoiler, there is a little bit about society and our day and age, right?
Mm-hmm.
And where we are at the moment. And it's weaved actually really well into the episode plot line. And at the same time, it's like, it's not harped on endlessly. It's like, all right, next episode is like something completely different. And next episode, in my mind, is a little bit, not to spoil too much, it's about being surprised or kind of embracing the unexpected by, I don't want to spoil it, but it's like, oh, something unexpected happens and you're like, oh, that actually was not what I thought how it was going to turn out when you meet someone new, for example, if you recall episode 2 a little bit with the comment and everything.
Oh, right. Yes. Thanks.
I watched it like so much longer before than you. Come on, remember?
No, sorry. Yeah. I'm a little tired tonight. But
yes, the point is like you also get to try out like different themes, different messages, different moral stories every episode, and I think that gives you something, just a new point of view every episode.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited for it, and I think the cast that they pulled together is really phenomenal. Like extremely talented, diverse. Just amazing actors. And I think that that's great because I think we were bought into Anson, Rebecca, and Ethan, but these other actors are extremely talented and add a nice balance and interest into the story as well. So
I love do you have that's actually a good segue. Do you have like a favorite character?
I mean, I love Ortegas. I really do.
Great. She's so spunky. She's funny.
She's just Melissa Navio is really cool. Yeah, I think she's really great. Trying to think. I mean, I don't not like. I mean, so also shout out. I've got a little bit of a crush on Ensign on Chief Kyle.
Who's Kyle?
He's the transporter chick. Yeah, the cute Asian guy.
The skinny Asian guy?
Yes, he's cute.
Well, you're into Asians, I guess.
Yes. So yeah, I also really like Dr. Mabenga. I think it's a different, interesting doctor who, as we learn, has some things going on. And so I I love the introduction of him when Pike sees him for the first time in this series, in this show.
Sure. Yes.
They know each other from
They know each other.
before, so that should not be a surprise. But I'm talking about their first scene together in this
Well, it's in the
show.
pilot, so it's not big spoiler.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
What any favorite characters for you?
No, I love Ortega's. She's so great. She's definitely one of my favorites. I'm actually really liking all the women, to be honest. They're all
Yeah.
very different.
Yeah.
Nurse Chapel, I'm glad that we're giving her like more to do. And they're all kind of spunky in different ways. They're all very
Yeah.
strong women, and I
Mhm.
love strong women.
Yes. Me too.
Yeah, I know that you had your reservations, but I actually do like La'an. I mean, she's a darker character, and she has more baggage.
She's definitely darker. Yeah.
She's a survivor, like, and I really do like about her. And she obviously has a chip on her shoulder, but she also cares about people. And you see more of that in episode 4. You get more of that of her backstory, but it comes out of a place where she does care. And I really like that. They're all just so different, and you can see that they have different layers of complexity. And I think that my hope is that we get more and more of that, and we get to spend more time with them.
Yeah, and huge shout out to Celia Gooding for playing Cadet Uhura. She really does a nice job of being like this cadet. Almost sort of, there's some Tilly there. There's some joy and some excitement there that we haven't seen since like first season or second season Tilly and Discovery.
Not the same kind of awkwardness, but you're talking about just kind of like enthusiasm.
Just enthusiasm, yeah. Like just excited to be a part of Starfleet and all of this. And so yeah, she's doing a really great job of inhabiting that character from an earlier time frame than we've ever seen before. So yeah, so I think, I agree. All the women are strong. Rebecca Romaine as number 1 she's just phenomenal, and she just has this. How do I want to describe it? She just has this gravitas that I can't really.
Just poise.
Yeah, poise maybe, or just It's I can't. I want to hang out with her. Like, I mean, I think number 1 is just
hang out with her. Like,
I mean,
I would hang out with. I would hang out. Who would I want to hang out with? Let me think about this.
No, she's just she's like she's funny, but she's dry. She's caring but strong. I don't know. It's just I think it's her poise, for lack of a better word, because it's late and I can't think of
I
one.
wouldn't want to hang out with. I need to hang out with someone that's like sillier, like Ortega's. Like I would hang.
Yeah. I mean, Ortega's is someone you want to take to a party. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And Nurse Chapel is
even
someone...
Nurse Chapel is also kind of like, you can see that she has like a humor streak.
She's a playfulness about her
yes.
That is is great. So yeah, I mean, the cast is phenomenal. So we'll do a deep dive into episode 1 next week. Yeah, and maybe even episode 2. We'll have to figure out how we're gonna do this.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I'm liking it. I have actually very few criticisms. It's I actually think that it's doing what it set out to do in terms of being like a new live action series that has a different take than Discovered in Picard, and I think it's doing a great job in that regard.
That sounds like a great segue right there. I love that. Let's just leave it there.
Well, one spoiler alert. Such news item that we talked about briefly.
Yeah,
is Alison Pill did an interview. I think it was MovieWeb, and she basically let it out that she's not in Picard season 3.
And by the time our episode airs, this will probably be pretty obvious, or not. I don't know. Or maybe we saw the last of her in this episid.
Oh God,
episode 9. I don't know.
We need to go back to.
Oh, we need to go back to the Stargazer. Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, I am I'm I'm annoyed by
We're
this.
displeased. Yes.
I am displeased. Yes. I get it that she's doing an interview for another show, but to let something slip like that, I just think, if it had been a
Yeah,
week
she should have
later,
said like, "Oh, sorry, I can't talk about it."
yeah, with the finale coming up, I'm just really, yeah, I'm really, yeah, I'm not happy that that came out at all. Um, I I yeah, I just I'm disappointed, and I really like Alison Pill. I think she's done a phenomenal job this season
Mhm.
playing Jurati slash the Borg Queen.
MVP.
Yeah, definitely. She's definitely, and just to let that slip really just disappoints me, and it annoys me because I really want to go into this finale with my, just to enjoy the ride and see what happens and see how
Sure.
it all comes together,
Sure.
how this season kind of comes to a close. And I didn't want any preconceived notions about
Mm.
things. And I
Well,
really
we're
am.
definitely gonna get her. It's just like,
No,
we're not going
it's
to.
just not cool. I mean, and I'm sorry, I really like Allison, but I'm, you know,
Wow,
she's not,
you're very
I'm,
disappointed. I wasn't that disappointed. I was like,
no.
oh, okay.
No, I am. Yeah, because I think, what, everything's focused on Strange New Worlds. There's no reason why she had to do an interview for this, now and then, let that spill. I just think that that's kind of crappy. 2 days
Well, I don't think
before
that she's
the
gonna be the
finale.
only cast member that won't be in season 3
But
personally.
they're not, if that, I'll be equally pissed off if one of them did an interview in the next 48 hours or
I
36
agree. I think that
hours.
I don't think any of them should say anything. I have my suspicions that like we're not gonna get Soji back. I don't think we're gonna get Elnor back, but that is yet to be confirmed. So
Yeah. Yeah. Who
but
knows?
anyway, so that
So
was
yeah, that
one
was,
breaking item.
yes, that was
Yeah.
breaking me in more than one way.
All right. Well, okay. So I think this is then an excellent segue into our episode discussion of season 2, episode 9, Picard, Hide and Seek.
You'd have a cohort pulled from the dying? Recruit from derelict ships? Flotsam of space? You'd have us collect scraps.
And offer second chances. What if we take this ship and build a better Borg? A real collective, based not on assimilation, but salvation. Think about it. A Borg collective that embraces the uniqueness of its members.
You ask us to embrace weakness.
I'm positing that what you've written off as weakness is actually strength. Cooperation.
Your proposal is absurd. But not entirely unintriguing.
Imagine members who would fight harder for what they chose. Who would lose no battles because they made no enemies. Who would not be discarded and replaced. Attachments could grow and deepen. Like Seven. Didn't you love her once too? And wasn't she the best of what we could be? Somebody who used her Borg half to serve the best of her humanity. Let's build a universe of sevens. Let's start with this one.
All right, Mike. So why don't we talk really quickly just about high-level thoughts when it comes to this episode, and then we can go into the specific like character.
Okay, yeah.
Why don't we do that? So,
Sure.
Mike, why don't you start since I'm the one that's leading this podcast? High-level thoughts about this episode. What do you think? Did you like it? Dislike it? Do you think it's
No,
a
I thought
good
this was
penultimate
really,
episode?
yeah, I thought this was a good, solid episode. I thought it was fast paced and interesting, a lot going on. There were so many things happening. And yeah, I really did enjoy it all. Even, I mean, obviously there is the one scene that I think is on everyone's mind. And
What scene?
when they show her, Yvette hanging in the
Oh, okay.
atrium, and then they back it out in time. I think that that's a little little hard. Because you actually see her doing it in
That was
reverse,
interesting when they did it.
but still, that was a little hard. And then seeing Jean-Luc come in and see that as well. But I thought, overall, I thought that we saw some good movement in the plot, and we're moving towards the end. We're left with a lot of questions. So very many questions still. And yeah, I thought it ended interestingly enough, and it seemed to end like everyone was like, okay, well, we've got to go now save this mission, the Europa mission, and they're like
but they're also stuck there.
Yeah, so there's that.
Wouldn't that be one of the major concerns? Like, how are we going to go back to the future? Because
so I guess thinking about it out loud a little bit, I'm guessing that their thought as characters is that they are here to save the future, and what happens to them is irrelevant as long as the future is restored.
Sure.
So there is that piece. So yeah, I don't know how. I was kind of shocked as the La Serena took off and went to warp, and they're just like standing there, not upset. They're just kind of like,
no, there was like some like jumps in logic because like Rafi and Jurati are the only ones that had the communication with the Borg Queen about her plans. Take the quadrant. But then once they meet up, it's like they kind of all know. There wasn't like, oh, like they're all kind of in the loop.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's like this weird like, oh, where was a conversation about what now? Kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's some small things like that.
But what did you think about the whole episode overarching?
Overall, I actually like this episode. I liked it more than the last 4 episodes. And I think that we're finally barreling our way towards the finale. It's finally resolving some things. There's still a lot, like you said, we got no Q at all. He wasn't even like referenced, I think, in this episode. So this goes back to my complaint, which is I'm not sure. I have a feeling the Q stuff is going to be rushed. I don't know if it's going to be carried over season 3. If it's not, then it's going to feel super rushed to me. We still need to go back to the future and unveil Jurati most likely as the Borg Queen. I still don't understand like some of because like if you remember, one of the questions that I had right before we jumped back into the past or whatever was the Borg Queen saying to Jean-Luc, "Look up," right? And that's a reference to what his mom used to say. But that cue was never given. So how does that connect? So you have to like, there's all these things that
I'm going to guess right now that is not going to be resolved.
But that's annoying. Like things like that. It's
no,
like,
I know that's
and
your.
I have all these questions like, why did Jurati go through all the theatrics of like taking over the bridge and drawing power, and then taking all this time to unveil herself, and like, like there are all these things. Like like I if it is Jurati, which I'm most 90% sure it is, it's like, why go through all the theatrics? And I don't know. There, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. It's just like there's questions that's gonna be lingering, and I feel like we're gonna have, if it's a 70-minute episode, if we're lucky, to unpack it. And I'm just like, why? And they still need to stop Sung from destroying the Europa mission. I'm like, oh my god, there's so much to do.
Well, speaking of Sung, he suddenly disappears after Rios comes and appears, transports in the middle of the fight, and disappears. And like, where's like
he doesn't have a
transporter? He ran away, so he has no transporter. Like, how did he get?
It's just one of those,
how is he gonna get back?
It's just one of those like Hollywood villain moments. It's like, oh, he's gone. I guess we can't track him down. We'll have to deal with him later. It's there thing. I don't know. I feel that I'm gonna be left thirsty with questions. I mean, again, I still like this season more than season 1. So even if it's unsatisfying, I'm gonna give it a higher rating. I just wish again that we weren't so rushed. I feel there's so much I need to unpack in the last episode, and it's gonna feel rushed to me no matter what. But whatever, we'll see. But overall, I did like this episode because yes, it finally like things congealed. The Picard stuff, we finally got more answers. They did a final reveal as to what happened to Yvette, blah blah blah. So yeah, so why don't we go really quickly, do a quick deep dive into some of the various character subplots. So why don't we start with Picard and Talon? So their little adventure in the underground, and that's really where we get you know, a little bit more about Picard's backstory.
Yeah, I enjoyed this part of it. I thought it was really well done. I thought the sets were amazing for all of this. I thought the chateau sets were pretty believable and pretty real. I'm trying to remember, so you're gonna have to walk me through anything that I miss or forget because I've only watched this once. But obviously the ghost of the past are kind of there and kind of Picard's periphery as he's trying to find his way out of this and out into the backyard, into the whatever the chapel or whatever the escape route is, and then out into the field so he can get on the La Serena, which he never does because eventually he somehow leads himself back to the atrium. And but I thought that all of that was really well done. Like I just thought that piece,
I thought they weaved it in well. It didn't I thought they did a better job trying to weave in that story with what was going on versus the monsters episode, which was a lot
where it's all in his head.
Yeah, it's a lot in his head, but then it was kind of like one of my notes about the episode, I thought it was just kind of really slow. But here, because they're kind of weaving it into the action, I thought it kind of, you know, it rushed things along a little bit more in a good way. Like it push things along from a storytelling perspective.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really good, and to kind of emerge in the atrium where it all happened in his childhood. I'm really glad that there wasn't anything to do with his father in this episode. I'm glad it was just focused on his mother, you know, and finding her. But also knowing that he was responsible for releasing her. So I thought there was some touching moments where they're he's laying in the bed with his mom. So there's that. So yeah, it's just you know, it's definitely traumatic, and seeing that, I think they really did a great job of showing those experiences from a child's perspective, and not really explaining a lot, because a child wouldn't have explanations for things. Like it would, in a child's memory, it would be kind of like patchy like that, like knowing where the key is, getting the key, going in, laying with his mom, you know, waking up, his mom's not there, going to find her. You know, I thought it was just really well written in that sense, that it wasn't too overly overwritten as if an adult were writing it. It felt very real to me in the sense that this was the memories of what a child would remember.
Yeah,
you know, there wasn't, so I thought that was really well done. It certainly does explain a lot about Picard's background. I actually think that this is actually a really, really great point about his background and why it's so hard for him to become connected to people, and why he's always standoffish. And so it for me, it really did kind of explain a core.
So in your mind, what is the connection between, obviously it's trauma, I get that, but between what happened with him and his mom and then him letting people in?
I think it's just the fear of loss. Just, you know, if you're not attached to people, you can't get hurt. So it's a self-protection kind of thing. Yes, it's all related to trauma, but I think it's more of like a self-protection thing. Um, yeah, I mean, it's obvious that he's close with the crew of the Enterprise D, and he's still close. If you remember back to season 1, he met with his friend who was on the Stargazer, the doctor who was on the Stargazer for a number of years. So, he does have some relationships, but I think it's their work relationships, and they've stayed work relationships. And
But you said friends. It's I think wasn't the posit.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying about friends. I'm just saying about
like more
someone
like,
who
like
love,
a lover,
like deeper,
like
yeah,
like a not a relationship, but yeah. I mean, like more than a friend, I guess.
Yes, yeah. I think he's able to form friendships. Obviously, that's clear. But I think that it's romantic relationships.
Romantic, that's the word.
So yeah, so I think that sort of explains a lot for me on his perspective around that. So and why he's that way. So I thought it was really really well done. And at the end where he's kind of at face to face with Sung, and I wasn't convinced that there wasn't going to be someone hurt or shot, or I felt that the level of threat was real at that point. So I was really surprised when Rios kind of appeared in the middle of the room versus, in another part and came running in and like, shot them from behind or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I felt the threat level. I really thought that Sung was going to win, and like there was going to be more.
Oh, really?
I
did not feel that it was.
No, I didn't
feel stakes. I didn't feel the stakes.
I definitely felt the stakes in that scene. So yeah, that's sort of. Did I miss anything? Did you have any other additional thoughts for that piece of it? What did you think?
No, I agree with the points. I think they did a good job. I mean, they did. Definitely, like I said, definitely was weaved like in a more organic way, I would say, into what's happening around him. And I actually like that. And obviously the whole thing where he and young Picard and Yvette are playing hide and seek, and then they're kind of trying to hide from the mercenaries. And so, I mean, like thematically, I think it worked a lot better than how they try to do it in Monsters. I mean, we tried some old ground, but I thought it was fine. Like we saw more of them. I like that we saw a little bit of like his childhood, where they had some like more normal moments between Maurice, Yvette, and Picard. It's them relaxing. It was kind of nice to see that.
Yep.
Before things went downhill very suddenly. But I actually like that we saw a slice of like quote unquote normal life before things went to shit, I suppose. Right. But yeah, no, I mean, yes, I like this. Overall, yeah, no, it was great. And Talon continues to be awesome. She's obviously going to be in the finale. I don't think she's going to be in season 3, unfortunately. But yeah, it was good.
Awesome.
Cool.
What do we want to talk about next?
You pick one.
Well, I think, all right, so since I mentioned Rios, we'll just go with Rios. I think transporting away, I thought that was really good. That he listened to Picard, and that, that all happened. And Picard tried to protect him by locking him out. So I thought that was all really good. I thought that, I thought they underplayed a little bit Ricardo's traumatization, if you want to call it. And I think we're overusing that word a little bit, but the impact of him being a part of that, I thought that was kind of
Rios?
What?
Rios? Ricardo?
No, Ricardo. Her son. His name is
Ricardo.
Ricardo.
I don't know. I don't know the name of her son.
Yeah, Ricardo, I think is his name.
Okay.
I think they underplayed his trauma and kind of put him to bed too quickly, and like obviously it's not a focus, but I thought that I didn't necessarily believe that he was sort of traumatized, I guess. So that's why I feel like it was underplayed, but I understand that they kind of needed to get him out of the picture so that he and Teresa could kind of talk.
Sure.
And I was I guess the fact that the mission had kind of kicked back into high gear kind of changed his mind, and he was like, I gotta finish this. I gotta, so I think some people are gonna have a challenge with like, well, 5 minutes ago he was like, I'm gonna stay behind. And
well, no, I think in a mission setting like that, when lives are at stake, when his like crewmates' lives are at stake, I think that, that comes first.
Yeah, so you kind of see that kicking back in, and his desire to go back and help them.
Right.
So,
and he gets there in the nick of time.
In the nick of time, yes. So yeah, I thought
I don't know how he was able to figure out like Talon's transporter, but whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Sure.
Well, sure, yeah.
It's like Starfleet engineers; they can do anything.
Really, they really can. So
they really can. It's typical. So it's not
yeah.
Really, not really.
So that's there's that. I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way since I mentioned Rios. Do you have any other thoughts on the Rios storyline?
Not really. Do you think that? Okay. Do you still think that he's gonna stay behind, or do you think Teresa and the kid are gonna go with him back to the future?
If it's of those two choices, I think he's gonna stay behind. I don't think that they're gonna go to the future with him. And I'm skeptical. I'm kind of skeptical about. So here's how would this break down? I guess I'm trying to think of. Like, I think it's even odds. No, I don't think. I think there's a 50% chance he's going to
stay behind.
Stay behind. I think there's a 30% chance that they will go to the future with him, and I think that there's a 20% chance that what was the other option? Shoot.
I mean, he could just go back without them.
That he goes back without them.
There
we go. I guess that's the other option. Yes, I lost that at the end.
I mean, I don't think any of them are gonna die. Like, I don't think
so either. No, I don't think so either. I think I still think he's gonna end up staying behind. Is my bet. I don't think they're gonna go through the future. I don't think they're gonna separate. I think that he's gonna stay behind.
Yeah. I agree with those odds. I think there's a possibility that they might go to the future, but I think that more than likely he's gonna, especially like given some of the episodes where he's like, yeah, the 21st century is kind of cool. I feel like he's gonna probably stay there. So.
Yeah. You mean the 21st century, not the 24th century, the 21st.
No, 21st. I said 21st.
Okay. Sorry.
Yes, I said 21st. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get like these like butterflies they kept on which they kept on talking about and trying to like, but I don't know. They've honestly done so much, it's ridiculous. Like, by the way, they just left all these mercenaries around. Did they even kill all of them? That's a question. And they have all this like now like Borg technology in them. By the way, Talon, her phaser rifle breaks. She just throws it on the floor. I'm like, all right, I guess someone finds that. That's unfortunate, they're just they're becoming a little bit more like just laissez-faire about the temporal prime directive or whatever you call it. But at this point, it's like shit. It's like whatever. At this point, fuck it. Who cares? So anyway, and that's the other thing. Like, because if they get left behind, or that's the other thing. It's like, well, that's not gonna help. The timeline if they can't go back to the future and they're stuck there. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So, all right. Now we're left with two juicy ones. So why don't we talk about Rafi and Seven?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you? So. I don't even know where to begin with them. I sort of went right to the end.
Together.
They're great together. I think all the scenes with them in it are awesome. I love the chemistry between them. I love the talking, the way that they're talking to each other. Mm. They're both pretty aware that they're not necessarily going to live through this and fulfill what Rafi saw as their future, which was sitting on some bench watching.
Right.
Being old, growing old together.
With they might not survive.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a good scene.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that scene. That's probably one of my favorites in this episode. And then obviously, we have, Seven gets fatally wounded by the Borg Queen when she's Jurati, when she's more Borg Queen than Jurati. I guess I don't know even how to qualify that, but anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
Just I feel like, I don't know. I feel like their attack was a little like dumb-witted, like not as.
Well, I was saying before we started recording, I don't understand why they couldn't have used Talon's transporter more tactically. Like,
right, yes.
And the transport technology is very, so I don't know why the Borg Queen, for example, if she had full control over the La Sirena transporters, why they can just like beam all the, all her enemies into space. Like she could do that. Like, why like go around like trying to chase them down or like, send mercenaries after them. Literally, she could probably lock onto them and beam them into space. That probably wouldn't be too hard for the Borg Queen to figure out, right? But then there'll be no story. Also, did they really have to, they did not have to like make all their ways through the mercenaries, through the chateau, through the underground. It literally was like, hey, how about we transport a little bit closer? Like we can sort of say hit it, and then let's transport a little bit closer so that we don't have to like go through like this whole gauntlet. But of course, if we did that, that would also be kind of boring. So whatever, it's fine. It was kind of a journey, it was a journey for them to get there. I feel they barely made it. Picard and Talon didn't even make it. And then whatever.
Yeah, I think, the hard part is that they're trying to do something at the console and either lock her out or do something, and they're not really paying attention to like she's still around. Like, be on heightened alert. Why are you gonna let her walk out of that whatever, whether it was a turbo lift or whatever, or a room?
And then they also were like, they had their guns at her and they were like, don't make us do it, Jurati. I'm like, okay, she's not in control. Just at least heavily stun her or something.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like, the logic.
At least try to heavily stun. Like,
yes,
you don't have to vaporize a woman, but
yes, I agree.
That's a setting. So
the only thing I just literally thought of this, the only thing I can think of is possibly because they are Confederation weapons, that they may not have heavy stun. It's like that's kill or not kill possible. So
possible.
I just creating it out for them, if that's it. But yeah, I thought it was kind of maybe that is the answer. That's why they didn't want to shoot her.
Maybe.
So I thought that they were kind of ill prepared for her. That she was coming. You knew she wasn't far away. Like, you're by the console and then you get hurt. I mean,
could they at least like name her? Like, even if they didn't vaporize her, at least name her. I'm just saying.
Yeah, something. Yeah. So that's so then
Well, we still got some juicy parts. Like, I loved Seven dropping Janeway and talking a little bit about post Voyager and how she tried to join Starfleet.
Yes, and they wouldn't let her.
That was great. And then Rafi was like, "You'll make a great captain." I wonder if that's foreshadowing.
I will wonder that too. Yeah.
I think someone would make an amazing Starfleet captain. Just saying, she would be great.
Well, and also, with that, I think that's a great foreshadowing. Also, because then who is going to captain the Stargazer if Rios doesn't come back?
Sure.
So there's that.
I mean, we still need to like go through like Starfleet training, and I don't know. I mean, maybe.
I don't know, but I think if they get back there and Admiral Picard is there and he's like, I hereby promote you to captain of the Stargazer, take command. And she starts to take command because she's, an ex-Borg fighting against a Borg threat. That might be interesting. Oh, I just got my prediction for Discovering Trek.
All right, well, I'm helping
there
you.
We go.
I would love to see that. Because I think that would help her, because obviously that
would be a great kind of completion of an amazing arc for Seven.
Yes. Because
and I think it also would help if Rafi and her both make it. I think it would be great. They could possibly serve together, or at least it would be like they're both in Starfleet, so they could take leaves together and things like that. It'd be a little more organized than her being in the Rangers and kind of just being, kind of on her own, I think that would be.
No, I think that would be a great way to, because a lot of Seven's journey this season, and honestly her entire story arc on Star Trek in general, is about her trying to reconcile her humanity with her Borg. So I think we're getting to a point where she's starting to learn how to embrace both. Like, she's not there yet, but I think if she was,
well, she's definitely learning how to embrace her humanity through this process. And now that she's Borgified again, she's, now she maybe
it's always
that
at odds,
integration.
right? It's always at odds, and I'm sure that that's also an issue with her relationship with Rafi too. But I feel that if she's able to, if we're able to get her into Starfleet and she can be recognized and embraced for how different she is, she can also do that. I don't know. I feel like something there. There's something to be cultivate, like in terms of like,
I like where your head's at.
Something. There's something there.
Yes, I like where your head's at. I'm on board with that. And I think that it's an excellent relationship to continue to foster and grow as a different kind of LGBT relationship. Like, we see the gay characters in Discovery, and that that family. And now I think we're seeing a lesbian couple, which I think would be an amazing experience, because it is very different than what we've seen before. It's also very different than, and I've had this discussion on Discovering Trek, that people have a certain expectation from a lesbian relationship, and they're looking for a romantic relationship. And this is more like, and I explained it to them, this is two career women coming together as partners, but still very much focused on their career, and still it's a different kind of, there isn't the romantic type relationships that you see, like Rios and Teresa. That's very romantic and very, that sort of world, whereas the relationship with Rafi and Seven is just so different, but also so good, because it's an example of another type of relationship. It doesn't, they do love each other. They do have deep care for one another. It's just not shown in the way that, most people are familiar with outside of being part of the LGBTQ community. So, yeah, I think it's a great, and I would love to see that kind of continue and be able to be explored a little bit. So,
yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And, I think that's what is really interesting and tricky about this is, and I don't know what relationships are really going to be like in the 24th, 25th century. Obviously, I think nowadays we're still very much burdened by like gender roles, and obviously we're, things have become different now. Like there's like subversion of that, right? But I think that at least for a lot of like same-sex relationships, sometimes there's a little bit more navigating that needs to happen when it comes to like quote unquote roles in the relationship. Yeah. Not to like put specific boundaries or barriers around that, or like put labels on it, but sometimes you do need to figure out, like, based on the personality, like who is more the caretaker role, because you are going to have someone that is more sometimes you are going to have one person that is more inclined to nurture, and sometimes you are inclined to have someone that is more like work-oriented, career-oriented, but that's not always going to be every relationship. Like I think sometimes in like more heteronormative relationships, for better or for worse, those lanes are defined. But even in those cases, we've seen that, like, that can be damaging, right? I don't know where I'm going with this, but I think that I'm basically saying that, like, in this case, because there's so much complexity to these two characters, and they also are not only are they trying to figure themselves out, because like they have so much baggage, but then you throw a relationship into it, then it's like you're not trying to figure yourself out. You need to figure out like this whole other person, this whole other dimension, and how that is compatible with you as an individual, and you're already a mess, and they both need like a lot of therapy, basically. They not only need like individual therapy, they also need couples therapy. And it's interesting to kind of see that, because like I think my gist is like there are no predefined roles for these two women. There are no
right.
predefined lanes in terms of how this kind of relationship should be operating, or like this is the role that you play, or this is like your responsibility. So I think that it kind of definitely opens up a lot of exploration, which we've done a little bit this season, which we've definitely done some of that.
That's all really great. Nice work there.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yes.
The other one thing that I will say about this storyline before we transition to talking about Jurati and War Queen is we also got Elnor, kind of.
We did, yeah.
ECH, emergency combat hologram, right?
Yep, emergency combat hologram.
He had a mobile emitter for some strange reason. I was very.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
wow.
It was.
Okay.
I did not understand why he had a mobile emitter. It made no sense. I don't know if maybe at some point, maybe in the script they were supposed to like leave the ship or something, but
maybe
he literally has a mobile emitter. Just pay attention.
I believe you. I believe you. I'm
because the Borg Queen targets it, like when she like uses her like tentacle and like him. I was just like, why is there a mobile emitter? Because he doesn't need one, because we know that the holograms can also be tactile on the Last Arena if they need to be.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
But I don't know. I thought that was odd.
It was great to see Elnor, and
Elnor got some good scenes, and I feel that because of this, we're not getting Elnor back because you have the emotional resolution. I don't think.
Yeah, we do, but also, I mean, practically speaking, the body of Elnor is gone back with the Borg Queen.
Oh, that's right. It's in the Delta Quadrant.
The Borg, unless there's some way she preserves it and brings him back in the finale, but
that's a good point.
Which is totally possible. That's funny because you said that at the beginning of the show about returning characters, and I thought it was funny because I'm like, he can't really return because he's on the Last Arena.
Unless I do some weird reset thing, but I don't.
Well, no. So I think it might be possible that she'll transport him back aboard the Stargazer in the future.
400 years later.
Yeah, I mean it's possible. I mean if she's alive,
Yeah, I mean she's Borgified though. I mean that probably makes a difference.
Yeah, she is. But if he's in stasis or in cold freeze, maybe in those 400 years, or all the species that they assimilate or find, they don't assimilate anymore, right? Or they won't. This group won't.
Unclear. Or maybe it's like more opt-in. Like, hey, do you want to be assimilated?
Yeah. But they might find some
more opt-in.
No. They might find some solution to bringing him back based upon how he died or whatever. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, they brought Neelix back after Seven brought Neelix back. Remember, after he was dead for like 19 hours or something.
Oh,
Immortal Coil.
See, we've mentioned that episode before. It's been forever since I've seen it. I didn't watch it after the last time you mentioned it.
Last year. It was last year.
Yeah. No, I haven't watched it.
Yeah, he was already like going through.
Voyager is not my go-to Star Trek.
I understand.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
But it was nice to see him, and
yes.
I'm sad that he's gonna be, he's probably gone, which is sad.
Yes.
But anyway,
I'm fine with it. It's fine. Cool. Why don't we talk about Jurati and the Borg Queen?
Yeah, I'll try to put aside my emotions about Alison Pill for the moment.
Okay.
And just focus on the episode.
Sure. Why don't you do that?
All right. Let me center myself.
Oh my God. Okay. All right.
Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Once again, I mean, she just kills it when she has that conversation with the Borg Queen, and they're two separate entities.
Yes, I'm glad. Yes, I'm glad they brought back the
duality of that.
Yes.
I thought that was really great. Because she looks disturbing, and she went and got it's kind of creepy. It's kind of creepy seeing half naked Alison Pill going to the freezer where the Borg Queen was and like stealing the uniform or whatever.
Oh my God.
happened.
Did you notice? I don't know. I thought that the her Borg Queen outfit was very ill-fitting. Like, I don't know.
Oh, I didn't notice.
It was like, I feel it was like too big for her, and it was like gonna fall off. Like, I don't.
Interesting. Oh,
Maybe it was just me. I was like looking at it because usually
I don't feel like I
the
agree.
outfit's so skin tight. Like,
yes,
literally,
it was not that. It was. I did not feel. I didn't notice that it was. Did not. It looked more like a dress than a Borg uniform.
Because Alice
I totally get that.
was like, I could not breathe in that thing. I almost passed out. That's what I usually expect from the Borg Queen outfit. Like, it's so tight that like you cannot function.
Well, I think Annie Wersching was in a
like fall off her in comparison.
I mean, I think Annie Wersching's costume was pretty skin tight. Maybe
it
not.
Is exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So it's kind of confusing that
I don't know. Alison was like, I don't want to wear something too skin tight. I don't.
Yeah, maybe not. You know, maybe she did.
Had a lot of room. I'm just saying.
I didn't. You know, I did notice it was different, and it didn't look like it was super tight.
It wasn't very form-fitting, no.
Yeah, form-fitting. Is the word.
The woman.
So, but I thought that duality, that playing off the Borg Queen, was really good. You know, it was nice to see that Jurati. I think, obviously, for the last time, right? That was the last time we see that Jurati. That version of Jurati.
That version of Jurati, yeah.
So then
we get something like a hybrid at the end, like something new.
Yeah. So then they become a hybrid of sorts, which is really interesting. So yeah, I think it's an interesting take on Borg life. I mean, this has never happened before.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is all from a separate timeline, which means that, you know, we've created another split in time.
It's really confusing, I have to say, because this Borg Queen is now headed toward the Delta Quadrant, and the Borg are already there. So is she going to go back to the Delta Quadrant to convince the current collective to change our ways, or is she going to create like a new collective? That part's going to be unclear. That part's unclear to me, and I'm not sure we're going to get the answer in the finale. Because we know the Borg exists for sure in the Delta Quadrant. They're definitely around.
Yes, in that time frame. Sure. Yeah, in that so that version of the Borg, you know, the Borg, or the kind of the pure version of Borg, is out there.
Right. The original.
So
it's a long time.
And in our 25th century timeline, it appears that the Borg are no longer a thing.
Or to what they were saying in episode 1, they're kind of like, you know, fragmented, or, you know, they're not, something happened. I don't know if it was like what Janeway did or something.
Okay.
But they're still around. Like, they're not like all gone. But at least back in the 21st century, they're still around. So so she still needs to go back, and then this timeline still keeps on going, I guess.
Yeah, so this timeline keeps on going to what end that'll be, but somehow
we still get all the bad Borg stuff, because that still needs to happen, right? Locuta still happens, I would imagine.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Like, that shit still happens, but I don't know.
So it can't really, so it's just, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be, well, I mean, they did break through the time-space barrier or whatever. Right. So they are from
there needs to be some sort of alt timeline, or I don't know.
There is some other multiverse, right? There is some other universe that they come from. So there we go.
Confusing.
That's it. Yep.
I thought this was interesting. The whole thing in terms of the Borg Queen and what Jurati was saying to her. I mentioned this to you over Slack. It read very Destiny to me, if you recall, like the origin of the Borg Queen, and like why the Borg Queen has this hunger to assimilate. It read totally Destiny to me, like, because it's out of like this unending loneliness and desire for more. I thought that was the first thing I thought of. I'm not sure how convincing it was for literally the Borg Queen's mind to change in like another 2-minute conversation, but I'm like, sure. I'm like, maybe Jurati has like a different angle, or because she's in Borg Queen's mind, she knows more. I mean, she was able to like, give us the news that like basically the Borg civilization comes to an end in any timeline. Like it's always doomed to fail.
Mm-hmm.
So that's new news, I suppose. And I think that for her to maybe hammer that home to the Borg Queen makes the Borg Queen decide, all right, if that's, if my way is not going to work, then it's time to try something new, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I
sure.
mean, yeah.
I'm just not sure if like a 2-minute conversation again would really be sufficient. That feels like a many hour conversation at least it would be in real life.
I guess they could talk faster in their brain,
It's
not.
I certainly can't convince anyone of anything in 2 minutes, but whatever.
Right.
Usually it takes like an hour at least.
Sure.
Or at least the work conversations. It's like about to change someone's mind. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm sad to see Jurati leave. I'm sad to see the La Serena leave, which we're kind of barreling towards this idea that ship is this that comes through the
yes.
crack in space.
I was hoping that by now we would be back in the future, but we're still stuck in LA.
Yeah, we are. We are very much.
At least for half of the episode, we're gonna be stuck in LA. That's like, oh my god.
Oh, I think it's gonna be like 2/3 of the episode or 3/4.
I just want to go back to the future already.
I know.
But
what and then what are we gonna find in the future?
I don't know. We're gonna spend like 5 minutes on it.
Right.
Basically, we're gonna spend like literally no time on it.
So yeah, we'll have to see how it pans
I would
out.
love to see the fallout, right? The emotional fallout of everything that's happened, them going back. I would love to see, the whole Seven thing. Like maybe she's like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna try again to join Starfleet. I don't know, like something like that. Like so, I'm not saying that that's gonna happen, but it would be nice to see, like, okay, we went through all this shit happened. What do we learn? And now how do we move forward? I mean, I think we still need to go back. Picard still needs to go back to the chateau. There needs to be some sort of emotional resolution with Laris. I don't know, like all that shit. That's all has to happen, right?
Yeah, that still does need to happen. Well, Laris needs to be decided, right?
Yes.
That is the
because it was left hanging. We were left hanging, and like that was not resolved. So hopefully we get that. I think we will, but it's gonna feel rushed. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, based upon what I've seen,
we don't know what Q wants. I don't know what Q wants. What does Q want?
Well, I told you my prediction on that. But
oh my god, I really don't want to carry over season 3, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a major point of season 3. But yeah, how are we going to stop Sung? I think we're like, how did Sung ever get back to LA before them? All of these things that I just don't know are going to be explained well, but we'll find out in 36 hours. We'll find out in 36-ish hours. Which means I do have to rewatch this episode again and take notes before I watch the finale, so it doesn't skew anything. But yeah, it was it was an action-packed episode. Definitely well worth the price of admission. I wish all of the episodes had been like this, but
wow, we can't always get what we want.
Yes, I realize. So yeah, that's so we're left with the crew watching the La Serena fly away and leaving them there. And
please can still get back to LA because they have Talon's transporter. But yeah, no, yes. Sung is like, I imagine Sung got transported there by the Borg Queen. And now I guess he has a charter like a flight. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Passport. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know.
I mean, they're in fucking France. I don't know. Whatever. I'm sure we won't. I'm sure we won't get the answer. I'm sure it'll be like a detail that's a skip over. It's
something that we will be talking about because we did not get the answer. So to be honest, we're just gonna have to face it now. We're not getting the answer. He's just gonna be miraculously back in LA and causing havoc for the finale. End of story.
Yeah, because
how we get there doesn't matter.
Because it was like when they were talking, was it last episode?
Oh, you know what? Whoa.
What?
We forgot to talk about what Jurati / the Borg Queen tells us.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
The finale.
Yes.
So this whole idea, and I forget, you could probably quote it a little bit better, but one Renee must die and another must live.
Yes, that's basically. I fell asleep during that scene second time.
Oh my gosh!
But yes, that's basically the gist. That's the gist of it.
So I do not know what that means. Well, so I have a thought on that. I am wondering if
it's very cryptic.
It is very cryptic.
Yeah, I went, and then they kind of looked at each other, like Seven and Rafi kind of looked at each other, and I was like, "Are neither of you going to ask for clarification?" Like, neither of them asked for more information, asked for more detail. My only follow up will be like, "Excuse me, could you can we have a clarifying moment, and can you explain what that means?" Versus kind of just leaving us hanging. But neither of them asked anything. I was like,
"Oh my gosh!" I just realized. Oh wow! Oh, the possibilities. So,
I mean, my theory is that it's simple. I feel that someone needs to impersonate Renee, and someone needs to think that he killed her, but Renee is actually on her way to EO or Europa or wherever.
Yes. Do you want to know who that's going to be?
It's going to be Talon.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
because of her ability. Remember, she hides her Romulan ears.
Yeah.
She has the ability to change her face. So I think that's what we're gonna find, is that's how Talon's story is gonna end, is with her sacrificing
protecting Renee.
Protecting Renee, which is her purpose anyway.
Right.
So that fulfills her mission. She looks like that. She dies at Sung's hands. Somehow Sung has got to die.
But she and Picard still need to have a final conversation as she's dying or something.
I don't know that we're gonna see that. But yeah. Yeah. So there's my prediction. That's
Well, that's very reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So there we go.
I mean, that's her.
That does make sense.
That's her calling. So it makes.
That's her purpose. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And Picard's gonna have a hard time with that, because she's probably a progenitor of Laris. So the real question is, Laris gonna be in the future, which would really suck to lose Orla Brady in 2 roles at once.
I don't know.
That would really suck. Oh man, what happens if they get back to the 25th century? They resolve everything in space. Picard goes back to the chateau. He's looking for Laris, and he finds Zhaban there instead of Laris.
And what, Laris has never existed, I guess.
Maybe, or
there's so many timey-wimey problems, but whatever.
That would be disappointing.
That would be complicated, but whatever.
Well, I don't know. It would be actually not very complicated. It would just be very simple. Like, she died and she never, and there we are.
And then Picard can be free to be Beverly in season 3.
And then that can all be. You're shipping that?
Yeah.
Man, I was so on board with him and Laris getting it together after all of this. But anyway,
30 years his junior. I don't know what age Beverly is.
Well, whatever. Well, so many things. True. Well, so many things, so many possibilities, and the finale is coming up.
Yeah. All right.
And you know what? I'm ready for this adventure to kind of come to an end.
I've been ready 2 episodes ago.
I know you have, but
this could have been an 8-episode season, and it could have been much tighter.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it could have
Yes.
been.
Yes. Oh my God. Definitely.
Or they could have expanded different things and cut different things, and like I think it would have
Or
been
they could
more.
have gone,
I
we could be back to the future now, and then they could have, there's more
Sure.
fallout that they need to figure out then. But
Yeah.
that's not what we're getting. So
We're not kidding. So we are where we are. All right. Well, there we go.
all right. Cool. All right. Well, that was another long episode. Well, Mike, do you want to talk a little bit about our sponsor?
Absolutely. So Fansets is the exclusive sponsor of Deep Space Pride and the Trek Geeks podcast network. And they just released a new badge, a new magnetic or pin collectible, the Star Trek The Motion Picture magnetic Delta or Delta pin. And mine is on its way.
We're gonna have a field day with Strange New Worlds, by the way. Like there's so many pins that are gonna come.
Oh yeah, so many pins. Yes, I'm sure they are. But head on over to Fansets. You can see the new magnetic Delta from the motion picture. You can see the new Enterprise 1701A Master Ships, which is a beautiful pin. I have mine. It's gorgeous. It's heavy duty. It's just great. Or you can get some Mission Chicago pins, whether you were there or not. Or these new Admiral pins from the Wrath of Khan. So, plus a whole bunch more. I mean, they have, Lieutenant Junior Grade Matt from Lower Decks. They have Adira from Discovery Season 3. And they have Loxana Troy, plus a whole bunch of others. Head on over to Fansets. Put a bunch of pins in your cart if you put more than $30 in your cart, which if you get that Master Ships XL Enterprise pin, it will do that for you. You can get that with free shipping. And if you use the code TrekGeeks, all one word, you're going to get 10% off your order. And we want to thank Fansets for being the exclusive sponsor of Deep Space Pride and the Trek Geeks podcast network.
Thanks, Fansets. All right. Well, that's it for this episode. We would love for everyone to write us a great review on your platform of choice. If you like this episode and want to hear more, please give us a 4 or 5-star review, and we'll really appreciate that. You can also reach us on social media and on email. You can send us a DM or send us a message on Instagram and Twitter at DSpacePride. And then you can also email us at dspacepride@gmail.com. All right. Well, another episode in the can. There we go. Mike, you are also going on vacation next week, aren't you?
Yes, but we still have a plan for recording.
Yes, we'll just do it at
we have it all. We have our whole map done for recordings this month. So
yes, you have invites on your calendar.
Yes, I've accepted them all. They are in my calendar.
Yes.
For recording. So yes, before I go away, we will be recording next week's episode. And I'm not going far. We're just going to Fire Island.
All those underwear parties.
For a few days. No, there's no underwear party. We're not even staying in Fire Island. We're staying somewhere else.
Wow.
Because there are many communities on Fire Island.
I don't even know. It's not even is it even prime season Fire Island right now?
No, not at all. I mean, it's early May. Come on, no.
It's too cold.
But we're introducing Hamish to sand and beach, which will be interesting.
Oh wow! Oh my God, he's gonna have a field day.
He is gonna have a field day, and so it'll be good. And just to be out of the concrete jungle of New York City will be good too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They have Wi-Fi, but I don't know how good it is. So it'll be interesting to see how good my Zooming is from there. I do have some meetings, obviously, and things to do from there, but we'll see what happens. So it will be what it will be. So yes, we're recording before I leave. And yeah, we'll get to talk about the Picard season finale and the premiere of Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
For real. We'll talk about the premiere episode.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll do that all next week on Deep Space Pride.
Cool. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here next week.
Bye.
Deep Space Pride is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks podcast network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.